Hello, my name is Andrew Morgan Smith, and I want to talk to you about your project settings and why it's important you have the right project settings before you start, so that way you sync properly with the production team. So, come see. So the three things I want to cover when we're talking about synchronizing with your client to make sure that whenever you send them your file, they're seeing and hearing exactly your music how you intended. The three things we're going to talk about are sample rate, bit depth, and frame rate, right? So sample rate is either going to be 44.1, but that's for a CD, right? That's for like listening on iTunes or something. What we care about whenever we're working to video is you want to be at 48K. Now, 48K, as you can see here, right here, right? Like you can change all these different, these are all different sample rates, but you want to be at 48K because that is how many samples a second your audio is being sampled at. So if you have 44.1, then your especially if you're syncing over an entire movie, your audio will drift as you go. So where you're at the end, it won't be synced anymore. Like you wouldn't notice probably over a very short thing. So maybe a short film or like a minute long project, you probably wouldn't notice a 44.1 drift. But whenever you're getting to 2 hours into a movie, I actually have had on my very first movie, I'm pretty sure we couldn't figure out why the sync problem was happening, but I'm almost 100% sure that I was in the wrong sample rate. So you need to make sure that your project before you start is at 48K. I like to do it just up here. I'll customize the toolbar and you can grab, you can tell it, I want to make sure I see the sample rate on here. And that will allow me to make sure I'm in the right sample rate. The next thing we talk about is bit depth. Bit depth is so sample rate kind of goes like this. Well, bit depth goes like this. So the more points you have, we want to be at 24 bits. So those are samples, sample size on each level. So it's like there's a positive one and a negative one, and it just goes up. So the more bits you have, the more resolution you have. Now it gets a little weird because I also know samples oftentimes are only sampled at 16-bit. But this is what they're asking for whenever they're asking you to submit. So I always say default 48K, 24-bit, just unless otherwise noted. Everything should be that. And the other thing is frame rate. So for any director out there, they know what I'm talking about, but I didn't know this when I started, which is there's all these different frame rates. Usually film is at 23.976, right? That's like whenever you see a movie in a theater, it's usually, that means there's 23.976 frames per second. And I've worked on things that have 30, I've worked on things that have 25, and a lot of times Logic will auto detect what it has, but it's important that you know that you're in the right frame rate because it can cause sync issues as well. Because your computer is not, it's not seeing it won't be syncing right properly whenever you're doing everything else. So I always default put mine to 23.976, and then a lot of times it'll tell me when I import a video, this is at 25 frames a second or 30. It's also important whenever you're getting notes or getting any information, or if you have for some reason to push things. So I've had times where they say, by the way, we've added 15 frames right here. Everything behind that has to be 15 frames back. And I've had to calculate on each cue, okay, I need to add 15 frames to this. Well, I need to know where that rollover point is. Is it at 24 or is it at 30? So definitely give it a shot. I think it'll be very helpful to you. And we'll see you in the next one.